Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to His Nature Farm. So today's a pretty exciting day for us. Not a lot going to be done today, but what is going to get done is fairly significant for us. It's about 98 degrees here in the middle of a heat wave, so we kind of limit our exposure outside. But I got the whole family here today, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in our front door. Now, we spent some extra money on that door. We felt like that was the most important thing to get this building secure. It's a beautiful door, and we're really excited about it. We'll have the metal going on next week. On the roof, we have it here. I'll briefly show you that. Okay, so first I wanted to show you the roof. So we take a look up there. We have everything furred out with 1x4 strips. As I may have mentioned in a previous video, we did that to keep an air barrier, an airway off the roof. So we use furring strips that goes on top of the what we call tar paper or roof paper. And now we have the roof. Now this thing is huge. The amount of roofing you're not going to believe. It is just stacked and stacked and stacked. I'm kidding. Check this out. All right, believe it or not, this is the roofing. This is the entire roof right here. This is it right here. This is the metal for the whole roof. And I'm not kidding, it's probably 2.5 inches thick. And this is the metal. So this metal here is what they call Galvalume color. And the reason why we got it was because A, it's a little less expensive. B, we like the way it looks. Gives a little more of a natural look. We could have went with a color. But it's a 29 gauge. But it's a medium grade 29 gauge, meaning it's a little thicker than a standard 29 gauge metal, meaning obviously 29 meaning less than 26, thinner, but it's a little heavier in the way they build it. I don't know how, but I paid a little more for it, basically. But it's Galvalume. This will go over the roof, and then we have some of our drip edge, and we'll kind of show you that. And over here we have basically our roof. This is our ridge cap that goes on top in the center in the middle. And then more drip edge, and we have these things here, which are great. These are what they call fascia. They go over the fascia. So what that is that fascia board sitting up there on that building up there. It looks kind of funny. We used cedar. Now, we were going to paint it, but we said, you know what? We have a really good wood that probably will never rot. But painting it's a bit of a headache. We got to keep it maintained as far as painting it, caulk it, and everything else. Rather than do that, we're going to wrap it in this Galvalume metal. So you're not going to see it. It's going to look like it's going to be metal on the outside, metal on the roof. So it should have a really good look. The softening we're going to paint. So we're going to take care of that. That softening we did in hardy board. So I'll show you that at another time, but we did that in cement board. So the entire roof and softening will never rot at all. So we did that on purpose. But anyway, so that's kind of it with this. Okay, believe it or not, we got this door in finally. You may have seen it was a bit of a struggle because, well, let me show you why. It's a beautiful door, right? It's a mahogany door. It's an 8-footer by 6 feet wide, and it's got this kind of obscured glass, if you will. It's kind of because it lets the light in, but you can't really see through it. So we like that. So it came out pretty good. You may have seen we may have struggled a bit with it. Let me show you why real quick. So when we're working on these doors, what we have is we rough frame them in. And sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out, well, exactly how much the rough framing should be. Because doors are different, and exterior doors can be way different, particularly because of the thickness of the jamb. Now, let me give you an example. On this one, we have a nice 1-inch jamb. It's 3/4 on the inside here. Actually, probably more like, yeah, about 3/4. On the outside, it's about 1 inch. Now, this jamb is obviously goes all around, but depending upon the manufacturer, the type of wood, that rough framing could be off. And of course, it couldn't be easy. Ours was off. It was off by over 1 inch in the width, meaning it was too narrow, and tall, probably almost 1.5 inches. So I had to cut a little bit of the header. On this building, it really doesn't matter. We had a 2x10 header, double 2x10 header, plus we have an additional header above it for the floor. So we're pretty safe here. I had to cut about 1.5 inches off it. So basically, you may have seen us struggling with that. It took about 1.5 hours to get this doorway cut out right. And we had to do it step by step. Now, we could have taken the doors off and installed the frame and then reinstalled the doors. You may have seen us doing, struggling with it with all of us. This is a very heavy door, very difficult to deal with. I like installing it with the doors on, and the reason is it keeps it as square as possible. It's very difficult to tell when you put a frame in without the doors being hung. So you could put that frame in and then hang the doors and realize you got a gap in the middle. So this thing turned out really good in the sense that I'm thinking we have no more than 1/4 inch space between the two doors, and it's even from floor all the way to ceiling, well, to the header. So that's pretty good. So what we look for when we put these doors in is that they're level. That they're level, well, a couple of ways. That they're level this way, that they're level this way, right? So if you would open the door and the frame is off, it would be unlevel. Now, typically we want to check to see that it really isn't moving. It's moving a little bit, and it's probably because of the wind, but it is level. So what do we go by? Do we go by it being level, or do we go by the door moving? I tend to go by it being level, by my level. And that's the way I tend to do it. I don't really care as much. I care more about if it's level. And again, we're looking for multiple ways of leveling this door out. Particularly on a front door, we want to have the right clearances. We don't want to have the top off from the bottom. I was working with it a little bit to make sure that top was at least 1/4 inch. If not, this is a wood door. They have a tendency to swell. Now this is mahogany. It's probably not going to swell that much. The door came out of an area of where we bought it that it was in, actually it wasn't in an air-conditioned space, so it was in kind of a more humid location. So therefore, it probably isn't going to swell any further. So I'm pretty confident. But you don't want to get this too close, because what's going to happen is down the road, you're going to put the door in, particularly if you got it out of a place that is air conditioned. You're going to install it, and you only have, let's say, 1/8 inch clearance, and lo and behold, this door is going to hit. It's going to start scraping. It's going to hit the top. And these doors are heavy and they're big, and you got to take them off. You got to plane them. You don't really want to deal with that. You want to try to put it in right the first time. So it's better to just take the time and make sure that you do it right. Now, the next thing we got to do is we got to cut in the door lock and the lock set. So we'll do that next. But anyway, this door went well thanks to my team of super duper workers, and we just thank you for doing this.